Hello, it's Alpha here, and we are back with some more AFK Journey PvP content. Today we are going to be taking a look at Gerda once again, just kind of giving my quick second opinion about her now that I've done some more testing with her. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that many tests with different hero combinations, but I still think that I have a decent idea how usable she's gonna be on normal arena at least. So that's what we are gonna be doing today. I also plan to make a new updated version of normal arena meta video at some point during hopefully this week or next week. And I also plan to do some more Supreme Arena stuff now that I have also reached the level 800 on my free-to-play account as well. So if you don't already know Gerda's skillset, you can check my first video where I kind of speculated about her skillset. But I think I still pretty much feel the same way about her than what I expected in the first video. So let's go through the strengths and weaknesses that I listed last time. So as her strength, I listed that she has some sustain abilities, and I think that is true. She is able to do some decent tanking, and she's able to give herself the shields and heal herself and heal the allies around her. So that is true. I think most of the times when I look at the amount of healing that she does, it is a decent amount. I would say it's around 20% of something that a Ludovic would heal during a fight, for example. Sometimes it's less if the fight is long fight or if she dies early on in the fight, but sometimes it's also 50% of what Ludovic also healed in that fight. It's definitely a decent amount of healing, so that's nice. And the healing right away is also true, and it's nice because you can position Gerda in a way that she will, for example, heal your twins during the fight. And on my first impression video, I mentioned that Gerda will be good with twins, and I still think that is true. I have been using her mostly with the twins, and they seem to match well. So then I listed crowd control as one of Gerda's strengths, and I still feel that's kind of true. So Gerda has 3 stun abilities, so when the battle starts and she does her jump, that jump will stun enemies around where Gerda lands, so that's nice. And that is one ability that can have a decent impact on the battle. If you're able to jump on top of all of the enemies when they are grouped up, then that will definitely help you. For example, you can stun the enemy Bonnie before the Bonnie can cast the aging debuff, and then you can delay the aging debuff happening by a couple seconds, and then sometimes you can even chain the stun with other stun effects confining spell, or then you can kill the enemy Bonnie before she can recover from the stun. So that can have really big impact. But at the same time, unless you're actually able to do that, then the start stun is not gonna be as impactful. And because of that, I kind of often ended up actually using her in such a way that she doesn't even jump on top of the enemies at the start of the battle, but rather next to my heroes, so that the healing area will be next to my heroes. So then that part of the kit is kind of not as impactful. Then kind of other issue is the ultimate. It's kind of slow for her to do her ultimate, and even when Gerda does the ultimate, it can often feel it doesn't really hit the key heroes, because especially if you're not jumping on top of all of the enemies at the start of the battle, but rather, like I said, jumping on front of your heroes to kind of provide the healing area, then the ultimate will also not reach the enemy backline. So the ultimate can actually feel very useless. I kind of feel they should maybe extend the range of the ultimate, because other heroes like Tassi and Bonnie, they have AoE stuns, and then a lot of skills are kind of whole map AoE, but Gerda's ultimate is only 2 tiles wide, so I don't know. It is what it is. And then the last strength that I listed was the crowd control immunity at the start of the battle, and I still feel that is definitely one of her strengths. You can use her against like Aaron teams, or if you're using her on defense teams, then like she's like decent kind of like counter to Aaron teams. So yeah, I think the list of strengths was pretty good. I would maybe say a couple like bonus strengths now that I've done some testing with her. What you can do with her is that you can place Gerda at the backline, and then if the enemy team has Bonnie, then the Bonnie will target Gerda, and then Gerda will still jump to the enemy front line, but that way she provides some protection from Bonnie to your backline, so that's nice. Then like kind of like other bonus interaction with her abilities is that when Gerda does her jump at the start of the battle, that jump can actually land like on top of enemies basically. So that means that in some situation you can jump to the like middle of all of the enemies and stun them at the start of the battle, because you don't like have to try to find a free spot for her to jump on. Then the last bonus strength is that I think that she is kind of like usable as a PvP defense hero on normal arena, so that's not something that is necessarily true for a lot of other heroes. So that gives her some like bonus value that you can actually kind of use her as a defense team hero. So then we can take a look at the weaknesses. I listed her faction being a weakness because Gerda is a Moller hero, and to some extent that is true, because like if you're thinking about normal arena, not many Moller heroes are being used there, so you are losing some stats by mixing in Moller heroes into your team if you want to use Moller heroes, so that is a small weakness. And then on like Supreme Arena side of things, I would say that Moller teams are not that common there either, like most people are using Wilder teams or Graveborn teams. So then one weakness that I listed is that she's only a PvP hero, and she is kind of usable on like attack team and defense team, but I still don't think like she's a big priority when it comes to getting her. So yeah, that is definitely a weakness. And then one potential weakness was that is she like actually tanky enough if Gerda jumps into like the middle of all of the enemies. I think it's kind of her weakness. Like yeah, Gerda is like somewhat tanky and has some sustain, but if the enemy team is running heroes like Fresto, that will reduce the healing, and they're running something like Lily May, etc., who will like focus down one target, then in that kind of situation, Gerda can definitely still like die quite quickly. Now also one thing is that like the Paragon differences can definitely affect like how much she's able to tank, because they will reduce like the amount of shielding and healing that she gets. So yeah, that's something to consider as well. And then the last weakness that I listed was that she seems kind of like placement reliant, and I think that is still true. Like her jump distance is quite short, it's only 3 tiles, so quite often you like can't reach the important backline heroes with the jump if you wanted to. And then there is the question that if you like actually jump for the enemy backline, then the healing area is not going to heal most of your heroes. So there is definitely like quite a lot of stuff that is reliant on the placement. And like I mentioned, her ultimate can feel like it misses like the important heroes quite often. So yeah, there is also that. So this is the defense team that I was using with her. Now I was able to actually win quite a few fights with this defense team. So that's nice. I don't necessarily think that this is the best defense team that you can do with her, but maybe this is giving you some ideas as to what you could try. So here are some of the like stats from those fights, and then I can like show a couple of the fights. So for attacking, I used something like this. The idea here is that the Thoran will ultimate first, so that if the enemy team is running Lilymay, which they quite often are, the Lilymay will interrupt the Thoran instead of your twins. And then the front twin in these images is the blue, so the ranged twin. So then at the start of the battle, Gerda will jump like next to the blue twin, and then the healing area will start healing the blue twin, and then Ludovic will also heal the blue twin. So the twins are actually gonna be staying alive quite well, even though they are only supreme. And then Gerda is starting from the backline, so that if the enemy team is running Bonnie, the Bonnie will target Gerda at the start of the battle. And then Talene is the hyper carry of this team. And then because Talene is part of the Twins link, once Twins ultimate, Talene will get the unaffected status. So once she starts ultimating, that ultimate cannot be like stopped as easily because she should be like unaffected, and then Talene is the one who does like all of the damage in this team. So this team can definitely work against teams that are more on the like the squishy side. If they have like only one healer, especially if it's like Damien, then I feel like this team can work. But if the enemy team has Ludovic, then it's possible that the Talene's damage is not enough. Because you have like only one real like damage dealer, and especially if they have like Havin and Ludovic or whatever, then this team is probably just going to lose because it's not going to have more damage. But this is just something that I was kind of like testing, and it could be that this team works a lot better if you are using some other hero as a hyper carry, but I just didn't like have the option to test with other hyper carry type heroes. So if you had someone else like, for example, Harak, or if you had like Cryonaya instead of Talene, or if you had Bonnie even instead of Talene, it could be that those teams would work better than the Talene version. But this was still like able to win against some decent teams that had like Paragon heroes, and we had like zero Paragon heroes and quite low level of weapons, and we had even like the Supreme Twin.
戦場それは芸術の舞台 勝利の光は太陽のように眩しいわね渡らせましょう 勝利の光は太陽のように眩しいわね
もう仕事の時間ですかい
勝
経験と運。
この戦場を墓地にしてやろう。